Alright, so I've kind of been a little bit busy. I had a lot of stuff going on. There's a couple of things that I really want to check out, and just some stuff I've been kicking around. I'm gonna do this in separate videos. This one is why I really don't think Kenny was suicidal, and I think that whole storyline just, I don't excuse me, I have a hard time buying into the suicide thing.
Well, here I am on my hike here in the mountains north of Las Vegas. This is a canyon I just walked up in. Now you can't tell, but my truck is way out there by the mountains at the very end of this valley. It's kind of like a big canyon. On the other side of these mountains, I'll show you in a second, is the bombing range, the Nellis Air Force bombing range. They do a lot of practice stuff out there. This is an old mine, and there's a hole here that just goes way down. I'll show you that. And then the last time I came up here, I hiked up to the top of what they call Gas Peak, and I spent the night.
Okay, let's break that part down. He's standing here at the mine, pointing up here to Gas Peak. Right here is the Gas Peak part. Well, actually, right here's Gas Peak. This is the parking lot. Camping area, parking lot. And then there's a trail, a hiking trailhead. Comes in over in here somewhere. I found it once, but that really isn't the issue. That's just setting up a pattern of how Kenny generalizes, and some of the things you could say he misspeaks, you could say he doesn't know where it is, you could say whatever you want to. To me, how in the hell, if you were from an area, unless he just figured from where he was standing pointing over here, it's a generalization. Alright, no big deal.
It was a 2-day hike, and then I hiked all the way down to another valley over here and went past this mountain range you see on my right, all the way back out to the flat desert. Now, the camera doesn't pick this up very well, but it's a long way, and I just romp around out here, do some solo hikes, and have some fun. My mission today is to just do a 1-day hike. It's about a 10-hour hike. I got to still go over another ridge and then go all the way down a big crevice that's real narrow and gets kind of scary. And I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before. And something about that cave just spooked me. Out of all the caves I've ever gone in, this one just made my body vibrate. The closer I got to it, the crazier my body felt, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to go in there right now, but I'm coming back someday. And I talked to some people on YouTube, and I told them, hey, I'm coming out here, you know, because they kind of called my hand on it. So I don't know if there's going to be anything to it, but it might be interesting.
All right. So from the mine, he shoots down here, comes through this canyon, clearly states that there's M caves all over, but that's not the one he's looking for. If you want to think so, cool. Think it. Not my monkey, not my circus. But he comes through here where it gets real narrow, climbs out, finds a turtle back in here somewhere, sees the ram up in here, and just is. Somebody that is suicidal is more worried about getting their affairs in order, saying goodbyes. There seems to be a pattern. I looked it up. I wanted to see what are the indications that seem to be pretty normal. And it's people are getting their affairs in order. They are more or less saying goodbye without coming up and saying, hey, I'm killing myself later. So there's a process they go through. So as the thought of suicide takes a deeper hold, they are more comfortable with it without thinking about, people they leave behind. Why would you be worried if you're going to kill yourself? Why are you worried? Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
If I can find it, I gotta relocate it, and this is a big mountain range I'm in, and I'm on foot. My truck's way out there. There's no roads, there's no trails. It's a pretty rough terrain. So hopefully I'll find it. It's shaped like a big M. It's a big cave that looks just like a gigantic M, and it's about as tall as I am and kind of narrow, and it's stuck on the side of a mountain. So I hope I can find it again.
Kenny was 5'8". So a 2.5, 3 foot tall does not fit, in my opinion.
And if I do, I'm going in there. I'm gonna put on my light and take my gun out and walk in there and see if I find anything. We'll see. I'm gonna take the camera and show you how deep this hole is and kind of show you.
First off, if you are actually suicidal, and I might have said this before, I don't really remember, but if you're suicidal, first off, if you don't care if you live or die, why are you coming back? Why are you bringing your self-defense means? I have a hard time with that.
Show you around real quick. So here we go. This area is that I'm in. It's kind of a weird thing. It's been out here forever. I mean, there's no roads, there's no trails. This thing, who knows how long it's been out here, and I have no idea what they were digging up, but it looks like some of the rocks are kind of rusty, so it might have been some kind of ore. This is kind of iffy. I'm going to step on this thing. It's very old, but I'll just show you down inside that hole. It goes way, way, way down in there. Let me see if I can... that's pretty far.
This is kind of iffy, but I'm going to show you. If nothing about this is pointing to suicide. Now, don't go jumping on the bandwagon that I'm saying he's not out there. He is out there. Until there's a body, alive or dead, you can speculate all you want. Just like I'm doing right now. Just because I'm looking at this again does not mean that everything that I'm saying is fact. If you look at suicide, men are more prone to a gunshot. Women are more prone to pills because women want to be pretty when they're buried. That's in the statistics. That's a fact. So that's where the wrist cut They don't want to, I guess, mess up their looks. I'm not sure. As to men, eat a bullet and that's all she wrote.
That goes way down in there. If you fell, that'd be it. You'd be a goner. It's a long way. So anyway, on the other side of those mountains, they're not that far away, but they're pretty good distance out there. On the other side of those is where I'm going to be popping out after I go over this. See, there's this little canyon I got to go down. I got to go over this mountain, and then I drop way down this mountain into a canyon, and I head off in that direction. I just go that direction, and that's west, heading towards, that's Mount Charleston, that big mountain out there. That's the Mount Charleston range. And then, excuse me, I got flies all over the place. And then, so I'll be heading down behind this mountain over here in a little canyon that gets kind of scary because there's all kinds of cliffs and stuff. And then hopefully I'll find that cave. It's like back over there somewhere, but down on the other side of that mountain. And then I got to walk all the way along this whole gigantic range on the outside of that mountain because I came down this valley. You'll see this valley, but I'll be out there where the desert's flat. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. I'll be way, way, way out there where the desert's flat. And then I got to walk all the way down. The sun might be down by the time I started at 7 o'clock, but I'm thinking the sun might be down by the time I get back to my truck. But the great thing about it is I have a big cooler full of beer waiting for me. It's going to taste so great because I didn't bring a whole lot of water and I only got like one candy bar to get me through. But I like roughing it that way. So I slept up in these mountains, and it's pretty high.
Okay. That would be back up in here. When I went back in here, it was pretty wild. And I do have to say, once I got into the trees and started just kind of skirting into those, coming around, skirting in, come around, skirt in, gut instinct was mostly, and what I mean by gut instinct is if you spend a lot of time outside, your body develops natural intuitions or sixth sense, whatever you want to call it. But it wasn't until I got up into the trees and out of the barren. This down here is rocks, brush. I was totally out of my element on this. Once I got into the juniper trees, that was when everything started having more of a natural feel. I didn't feel like I was walking on Mars anymore. That could just be simply because I'm used to junipers. It was more like what I'm used to. But my point is, if I'm looking for a cave back up in here, kind of fits. Does that mean there is a cave? Who knows?
I think that's about, it's like 9,000 feet up there, and it's the...
All right. 9,000 feet. Where's Sheep Peak? I think that is Sheep Peak. It just isn't giving us what we want to know. Right here, right here, Sheep Peak. Does it give us an elevation? It's like 9,600 and some feet. It's not giving us an elevation. But these lower peaks that he shows cut off the top. Another misrepresentation, another misspeak, generalizing, could be any of it. To me, it really isn't that big of a deal, simply because it's just something that happens. What I want to do is I want to get to a couple of places that really stand out.
The camera just doesn't do it justice, but I slept on one of those peaks and I walked almost up. But that's what I do. I'm out here. I'm gonna go check it out. So you'll see me with my gun in hand and my flashlight, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be freaked out like I was last time. Bye. Anyway, I'm back. I had to...
Okay, this part bothers me in the suicide realm because if I am planning on suicide, why am I going to take the time to worry about showing people the pinyon pine nuts, explaining they're edible? I mean, at this point, this is a month? Give or take a month before he went out in November. I'm having a hard time with somebody that wants to commit suicide also doing a educational portion in their video. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. He could have picked a pocket full of pinyon nuts and left his camera off, not said a word. He could have shot straight through. This part of it has some questions that really have me... I guess it's a question more of myself. If I am suicidal and I'm out doing a hike, am I going to worry about the trying to teach people, okay, you can use these, you can eat this, you can use this plant for this, you can... It just does not fit in. But maybe Kenny was a little bit more random, because when he goes, well, we'll get to it. Anyhow, this doesn't make sense as far as somebody suicidal to me. I don't know that I don't know that I would stop and show something like this. But on the other hand, once he gets down into the draw, he gets distracted easy because he's like, oh, look, a bird. I mean, it's really hard to tell. So anyhow, let's carry on.
I had to show you this. I'm almost to the ridge that I'm going to be going down, and I came across in early October. I don't normally find these in early October, but when I first started this hike down there's no pine trees, there's no juniper trees, there's barely any bushes. There's a lot of cactus, and slowly but surely I run into juniper, and then every now and then I run into a pine tree. But now I'm in the middle of these pine trees up here, and I just came across these, and they have just opened and dropped gigantic sweet pine nuts, or pinion nuts, whatever you want to call them. And they are all over the place. And they're so sweet and delicious. There's flies all over. They're everywhere. They're just laying. It was the perfect time to find them because they're just laying all over the place. Now I can spend about 20 minutes just walking around and collecting these, and I'll put them all in my bag. And when I get home, I'll have a nice treat. And this is the kind of food that saves your life. If you're up here and you got nothing to eat, and you come up.
The kind of food that saves your life. How does saving your life coincide
Just start picking them up
with
they're delicious. There's about dirt.
committing suicide?
Grab these things.
There, at least we're not looking at his ass. All right. Maybe Kenny was one of those people that thought more about other people than he did himself. I can't answer that. But it is one of those things that raises a question, and somebody's supposed to be suicidal.
Things, man.
And we're just going to jump ahead.
They're all Vegas, or they're picking them up. Back, big mountains over there. There's a few caves over there, but that's not where I found it. Out that direction is the direction I'm heading. Down here, I'll walk a little bit. So I'm in another long canyon. This is the second canyon, and I had to go over a small mountain to get to this one and then drop down. And I just got down here, and now this is just going to go all the way down through this whole twisty, windy canyon, and I've got to follow it, and it gets real narrow, and then it starts turning into cliffs and stuff that I got to start climbing down. It gets a little hairy, but I've done it 2 other times, so I know I can get through. And then it just drops down out into the flat desert. All of a sudden, boom, you're out of the mountains and you're on the desert. And then I got to walk the whole range all the way back, and it is a long way. So I'm gonna be worn out, but that beer's gonna taste good. So along here, I'm sure it's further down this canyon, and see, I gotta go past that mountain way out there.
One thing that never crossed my mind was people drink. Personally, I do not drink. I don't do anything. My biggest bad habit is chewing and coffee. But other than that, he says that he likes to ration himself and push himself, and that's coming up here in a few. But he likes to do that, so if he ever gets in a jam, he knows how far he can go. Nothing about this is showing or... Anyway, to me, this is not somebody that is suicidal. Now, like I said, I'm going to do a flip side to this. And it'll be a totally different video. I don't know that we'll go over this. We might.
And then just keep on going. It turns into a real narrow canyon. So this is the kind of terrain I hike over all the time. No trails, no trash, no people. I'm sure there's mountain lions out here. And all kinds of other critters. No bears, obviously. There's no bears out here. And I've never run into a rattlesnake, which is kind of strange. But there's, as you can see, there's no water out here. So, oh, there's a, oh, look at, there's a bird. Oh, I missed him. He's making noise.
Squirrel. He gets, when I'm walking, I do the same thing. I couldn't tell you how many times don't I start to talk about something, and the next thing you know, 4 topics later, it's like, oh hell, I forgot all about what I was talking about, and try to come back to it, and at that time, then it makes no sense. So, I mean, I get it. And one thing about it, it wasn't until I had moved down here that I even seen wildlife. I take that back. Someplace back up in here, we seen a jackrabbit. And it ain't like it took off like it's, like it didn't take off like it was scared. It just kind of moved away. What that thing was getting for water in this part, I have no clue. Unless they get most of their hydration out of plants, but they're really, I don't know if rabbits eat cactus or not. I don't know. But other than that one jackrabbit and a couple of birds I seen down in here, that was all I saw. So it's not like there's an overabundance of wildlife. Anyway, from the mine this way, going south. And that was why I wanted to come in from cow camp, come up over, and I kind of wanted to follow this draw in, come back down through and see if that, not so much if the tent and sword, because the sword's gone, but check that out. But what I wanted to do was come back down through here and then come back up along this way. But it didn't work out. There was that other camp up here. It is what it is. That was a final nail in the coffin, so it just is what it is. And if anybody wants anybody else to go look at stuff for them out here, here is my suggestion. Save your money, and you come out here and you go look at the places. I had 3 parts. That was my mission. I wanted to check out these canyons. Initially, what I wanted to do was get up here and check out this. And then once I woke up and I seen it, it was like reality slapped me in the face. Adjust the plan and go with it. And whenever I make it back out there, I will have another plan and I will do whatever I want to. So if anybody else thinks that you can dictate where somebody goes and send them out there for you so you can see while you sit on your ass in front of a computer, I hope anybody that goes out there tells you the exact same thing. Save your money, get some gas, go out here and do it for yourself. That way you can see it. Because once you get there, it is a whole different world. But I had to adjust my plan into this hike, and my interest in the rock really intensified after going to the Veach visitor center. And the part that I'm really bummed about is not being able to do this. That is the part that bummed me out. Maps, Onyx. I'll show this now that I've been there. And the reason that I kept Onyx out of everything, well, hang on. I ain't doing that. The reason I wouldn't show Onyx is I did a video and I talked about back here, and within 3 hours there was another video made. Well, I'm going to go up here and do all this and do all this, and it's like, okay, why in the hell should I give my plans out to let somebody else go out there ahead of me? What's the point in making a plan if somebody's going to cutthroat you and go for it? Anyhow, let's get back to the issue at hand.
I wish I could get a picture of him. So I take photographs of cool stuff. I find fossils and all kinds of stuff. So that's where I came from, way back over there. I had to drop down off of that mountain. And now I got a ways to go down here. So I'm going to turn this off, and if I find the cave, I'll be turning it back on. Bye-bye. Here's a beautiful canyon I'm just now walking past. I don't or anything. But I do have a pocket full of pine, Nevada, like 80 miles away. So, another range I'm walking down. I'll just give you an idea how long it takes to get past these mountains. You know, so I just keep on. So it's along here somewhere. This is gonna get real narrow way down here when I finally get up to that mountain down there, which is it's a good distance on either side. It's kind of dangerous, and I try to pretend like I don't have any supplies. You know, I bring water, so I do all of this solo. You know, and it's kind of dangerous, and I try to pretend like I don't have any supplies. You know, I bring water and I bring something to eat, but I haven't eaten anything since I started this hike, and I've only had 2 small gulps of water. So I kind of try to pretend that I'm running out or I don't have it.
So he likes to ration himself and push it, and we'll see how that works out for him. But again, he has it if he needs it. If you're suicidal, why not go out here with a 20-ounce bottle of water, and if you find the pine nuts, you find the pine nuts. If you have a candy bar, you have a candy bar. I mean, why go with the Camelback? I have a hard time with the suicide thing.
Just so I can see how far I can actually go before I feel like I'm in trouble. That way, if I ever do get in trouble, I know when I know when I should start panicking and how long I have before I'm in trouble. So that's a good idea to do that. You know, if I get real thirsty or I get hungry.
Now that part I disagree with. That's not a good idea. If you keep yourself in good operation, you don't have to worry about that.
I could just always reach into my pack. See those? Look at that. Kind of right there. That's kind of cool.
The hoodoos.
And it turns into like an S. But it just keeps
I
on
might
going.
have passed it.
Well,
maybe
I'm
not.
leaving it in the dust. Oops. And the canyon's getting a little more narrow. It looks like it's blocked off, but you can squeeze. I can squeeze through that. It kind of turns into like an S. but it just keeps on going. And then there's lots of little caves, but they're, you know, they're not the kind of cave I'm looking for. The kind of cave I'm looking for is deep, and it's dark, and it's
And that is exactly why I did not give two shits about coming down into this at that direction.
shaped like it's shaped just like the letter M. So lots of little caves and stuff along here, and it's about level with the.
This, I figured I could try to shoot a laser in here, shoot a laser in here. We can't see if there's openings in here. I do not believe this is covered. Not after being there. You have so many different variations of colorations and rock. I don't believe. And where the hell do you see? If you take this out, say this is where it's covered up, you got to remember 5'8", the cave is his height, shaped like a perfect letter M, not on an angle, not sideways. The cave is shaped like a perfect letter M.
The ground, like right, like in an area like this. So I really got to keep my eyes.
Now it's at ground level. Before, it was kind of up on the side of a hill. That part puts it into the realm of, did he make up the cave? Is the cave something that he's seen on a different hike? Just questions.
Eyes peeled because I don't want to pass it. You know? And then there's caves like that. You know?
I seen a million of those. Okay, maybe not a million, but the damn things are everywhere. That's how come I took binoculars. If you have glasses, and that was the main reason I wanted my video camera that I took. I knew back in the day that used to be one hell of a camera. Now, you buy a camera and 3 months later, there's one that makes yours pretty much look obsolete. It's just the way it works. That's kind of how come I really didn't run around with my Nikon. I mean, I've got a $900 Nikon camera, but I don't have the $4,000 lens, a telephoto lens, that you can zoom in on things, and you could zoom in on this and you could take pictures. Or this one, and if there's a pack rat's nest, it's going to look like you're standing right at the mouth of the cave. So with binoculars, you can pretty much eliminate having to go to this. Once you get over here, then something else opens up here. It's insane. There you go. There's your zoom.
I'm not going up there. There's caves. There's actually caves all over the place up here. It's a really cool place. If you want to come spelunking, this is the place to come spelunking, man. Canyons galore. I must have passed 3 canyons already. Here's a little canyon, or a crevice more like it. It goes on up.
See, I was more interested in stuff like this. Does anybody else have to be? Nope. I don't care where anybody else goes or what they do out there. It ain't my rodeo. My my whole thing is things that stick out to me. What anybody else wants to see, like I said before, save your money, get a couple tanks of gas, and drive out there and look.
On up in there, it's kind of cool. I like very, 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 very few people come down here. Yes, I'll be zigzagging back though if I can remember right. It's been a while since. Here's where it gets narrow. It starts to get narrow anyway. I still got a ways to go before I get to the opening where I step out into the desert. And I have not seen the funny looking little cave.
Funny looking little
Sharon,
cave.
so somebody has been down here.
It ain't like he's a big guy. 5'8". He's kind of a little feller. Just saying.
Another adventurer like myself. So here's where it comes to an area where I might have to do a little climbing, I think. Yeah, a little bit of drop off. I think I should be able to scale down these bushes, but not with my camera in my hand. So
Scale down the bushes down this side, but not with his camera in his hand. Again, that says he's more concerned about his safety than he lets on. And, you know, you also have the hype of things. You can pump something up into more than what it is. It is what it is.
Bye-bye. Well, I'm in the canyon, and I haven't found the cave, but look what I did find. He's way up there. I don't know how close I'll get to him. Look at him. Wow. He is big. Look at the horns on that guy. That's why I love coming out here. You never know what you're going to see. Oh man, he's looking right at me, and he probably hears me talking. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I'll try to get another shot of him. Whew, how cool. Well, I did not find the cave. That is so weird. I mean, the mouth of the canyon. They're up and down to do. About 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And I'm getting worn out, but I've got I don't know, I think I got about 3 more miles to go. Whew, what a hike. It's disappointing I didn't find the cave, but I still like to hike. And I just came across this fellow. It's been a while since I saw one. It's a nice little Mojave Desert tortoise. He is definitely a desert.
Alright. Shows a bighorn sheep. Shows a turtle. Shows collecting pine nuts. Shows places where he's camped. Plainly says little caves like this are not it. I don't see. I just don't see suicide.
Get back.
That's not good.
Made it a point to drink very little water. I only drank only less than 30 ounces of water. And it was one heck of a hike.
He drank less than 30 ounces of water.
Swallow. Oh, that freaking wiped me out, man. Oh, oh my gosh. Yeah. Beer feels like it's gonna kill me.
The beer's gonna kill him, so he puts the cap on, sets it off to the side.
That hurts. That actually hurts. It's really hard. Some people think that's stupid, but you never know when you're going to find yourself in a bad situation. You gotta know what you're made of. Really, I can just guzzle this. But I pushed myself way harder than I've pushed myself in a long time.
Alright, so he's pushed himself way harder than he had in a long time. So let's just go off of that as a fact. Take him at his word. He said it, so we'll say that, okay. If he had been doing other hikes, then it is very possible that he has 3 or 4 hikes rolled into one in his own mind. It happens. When, just for an example, if you, let's go someplace nobody really goes. If you come back up here by Hayford, in this area, and say you're at the Ranger's cabin, or over here at Desert Pass, and you come in and you start working these draws, looking for the best route, and you take off one of these side chutes, and you come up on Negro Head Peak, and have your lunch or do whatever you want to do, and then you work your way down, work your way back, and you're going through these draws, whatever, and you get back to camp. and then you move back down and around, and you come over to Hidden Forest Trailhead. And you're doing these, you're coming up here to the canyon. From the canyon, you work your way up here, you go to Hayford, you come back around, come down, whatever, work your way back to the game warden cabin. And then you move to another area. And since it's open camping, if you find an offshoot that you can drive into, okay, Dead Horse Ridge, Saddle Mountain. Looks like here's a road, there's a road. So then you come out here and you hike this out, or you just take the road over, and you find your way up to Saddle Mountain, and you come back down in through here. If you are not if you don't document, you take no pictures or nothing like that. Because a lot of stuff I do, I just go out and do stuff. And the next thing I know, I will be thinking, wait a minute, and I'm not here, but if I'm at home and I'm out scouting for elk, I will come up, look, okay, it ain't very good over here, not very good here. However, once I get back up here by water, then I start seeing a lot of sign. If I don't keep track of that, then I will think, if I'm having a hard time finding something, or they're just not where they normally are, and it'll be like, okay, I think it was this canyon where I seen sign, it had been old, but that doesn't mean they're not there now. So you can run things together. I'm just having a hard time. Alright, sorry about that, I hit the wrong button. I understand this point. Okay, he didn't drink enough. He dehydrated himself, pushed himself farther than he had in a while. I mean, he says it. I still don't see somebody suicidal.
You couldn't guzzle that if I tried to hurt. It's nice and cold. So, I didn't find the cave. I'm not real happy about that. I know it was there. It's a big freaking mountain range. It's a big giant mountain range. I just walked around the whole mountain range. Let's see if I can. My legs.
Alright, there is an exaggeration. He just walked around a whole mountain range. If you split this off, you would have to come up, because the Sheep Peak, it takes this turn to the east, then it continues up north. The range that he's talking is this western bench. So, alright, we won't nitpick it, but that's another exaggeration. He cut it off into a quarter and covered this part, but, no big deal. But what it is, it's another expression as to Is it an exaggeration? What is it? Who cares?
Way out. I started obviously from here, and then I walked out all along that whole canyon, over that, and then down that side, and then I walked, after I went down, and then I traveled all the way after in the canyon, all the way across the backside of that mountain, and that is one large mountain range. And then I traveled all the way down and around this, and then I came up from down there, and then I came all the way up here to my truck. So I'm gonna go check out my map and find out how far I hiked just now. Let's see what time it is. I'll talk to you later.
Oh, shit. Oh, alright. I just really have a hard time with that. There's too many things that make me think, okay, why? I just don't see suicide. It is what it is. And no biggie. My opinion. What anybody else thinks, that's up to them. I think that there is possibly a cave out here. I have a hard time thinking that it is back in here. I think that the cave is a very good possibility that it is in this section. I think that's how come Robin came up into where he was. He's more of an M caver. And I think what he was trying to do was the same thing that Sean did when they camped down in here, and they came up and was looking in this section. If you're going to do something and you're searching for something specific, why not break it down into a section? If you're going to look for the M cave, come into this, break this down the best that you can, and again, looking at maps makes this stuff look easy. Or makes it look a lot easier than it is. It isn't like you are going to jump out of your car and just run anywhere. And if you do, please buy the best GoPro there is and video the whole damn thing, because I want to see that. So anyway, those are just some things that really make me think about the suicide aspect. I'm not really buying the suicide aspect. Accident? Yeah, I can believe an accident in a heartbeat. But if Kenny had camped out here on Gas Peak, regardless of where he pointed at it, up here, that could be as simple as being a little bit disoriented in the mine to Gas Peak. Not a big deal as far as I'm concerned. So we know from right in here and right here, we know those are two locations that he really went into. Does anybody know where the pictures of him and Sharon in the snow, where were those taken? Because if you throw Charleston in over here, now your area just kind of triangulated. Actually, yeah, I guess it triangulates a little bit. But it just grew a lot. Anyway, that is the questions I have if a person is suicidal. Like I said, probably in the next one, it will either be accident or did he just have himself in a jam to where he felt the need to walk away. And we'll just go from there. Alright, later.